We got him?
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Go ahead.
I know mine off with 23:3. It says, Vincent Hall, living God shall smite me, and a white walkers, or cease not to judge me after the law, and commands me to speak contrary to the law. And it says, nice the high priest, the 7 years under law for breaking the law, but he himself is also breaking the law. His priest was trying to condemn a man, but he himself was overlooking the fact that by having false name, he was breaking the same law. One someone to judge me for law or laws working out instant. This is even rules we are supposed to adhere to, and all these rules are selfish. I believe in this is you judge this way, God judges us, and now God wants to swear, or wants to, one says, therefore thou art in the street, whosoever thou art that judges, for where thou judges another, thou condemnest thyself. Thou that judges is the same.
Yeah. Like, man, you got to think this ain't far removed from Jesus' crucifixion. This might be 12 years later, maybe a little more than 12 years later, actually 14 years later from the time Jesus died, you know. So the same people, because we talked about this last week, the same council that Paul's going in front of was the same council that Jesus went in front of. You know what I'm saying? So these guys are looking at Paul, and that's why I love that video, dude, how Luke portrays Paul's sufferings and the things he's doing as mimicking that of Jesus. And then you turn around and you hear people say all the time, what's a Christian life supposed to be like? Mimicking Jesus, right? Not falling into this hypocritical Pharisee type mindset where you're condemning somebody. We're not supposed to do that. Oh, well, he does this and he does that, he does this. Now, even Paul himself says we are called to judge believers on the basis of their fruit, on their actions, not the intentions of their heart, right? But you can't do that and then turn around and do the same thing, because God will smite you. Right? Like in the Message Bible, it says God will slap you down. I like that. It says God. You know what I mean? Like Granny coming after you back in the day. You know, get back here, boy.
You got to think, like, from a given perspective, that they're already lying on it anyway.
Yeah.
They don't care.
No.
They don't
Like
care.
their hearts are hard, bro. Hard. Like, they don't want to hear nothing about what he has to say. And that's, man, that's tough for Christians, because what's our number one goal, our main goal? To make disciples, right? To go forth and make disciples. I want to read yours.
Yeah, I didn't like the other. But then I said specifically on that, like that. 12:24 shows to me the apostle has much more to do with the word. Everything that's said and that happens to me on this so personal, and knowing that this is over, this is conversation. That's I find it funny how it comes back when we get to the Lord's being, knowing that when we are troubled with this emotionally by others, vengeance is the Lord's, that even then we should get off track and keep our lives constantly.
Dude, like, think about like life as a drug addict. Paul wasn't a drug addict, but dude, he would go out and run into a wall. We'd go out, run into a wall. Man, this is a perfect example of, dude, I don't care what you do, what you put in front of me, how far down you try to kick me, I ain't stopping. I ain't giving up. I ain't going to quit, because God never quit on me. Paul was killing Christians. Killing them. And God was like, I love you, brother. Quit fighting me. And he's like, what? Quit fighting me. I'm taking your eyes out for 3 days. I mean, that would freak me out, you know. Jesus said, quit fighting me. And finally it just sunk in. So they beat him up. They put him in prison. They beat him up. They almost killed him 5 or 6 times. He never quits. He never stops. He never let it get him to the point where he gave up. That should ring true to every man in this room right now. Don't ever let nothing get you to the point where you just give up. Right?
Yeah, Deuteronomy 26:6.
was being persecuted and put on trial for nothing that he did wrong. He appealed to the Lord, which gave him the word to divide the counsel, which eventually ended the trial. When we face adversity, and as a believer, there will always be a way to defend us, but we can trust in God and accept the consequences for our beliefs.
Yes. Just like that video was talking about, man, there's when your life starts to mimic that of Jesus, starts to mirror it. Dude, when you go in there and you look in that mirror, like, you see heaven. I'm just, for real. We've got heaven in our veins. We've got the Holy Spirit. Everyone, all you got to do is activate it, engage it, recognize it, realize it's there. Turn it on, whatever you want to call it. And when you look in that mirror, if you don't see it, bro, you need to reevaluate. Take an inventory of what's going on inside of you and in your life and in your brain and in your heart. Right? And when your life starts to mimic that of Jesus, you better believe that there's going to be some stuff trying to knock you down. Right? Instead of moral inventory last night at CR? Yeah, that's a real thing. You should do that pretty much every day. For real. You should do that every day, even when you wake up, before you go to bed. What did I do today that I screwed up? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what was my mindset? What was my motives? You know? Like, for real, you know what I mean? Like, because if you find yourself slipping into the, well, what can I get from them motive, mindset? Well, I'm going to do this because I know I can get something back. That's a red flag. It's a compromise. And that's usually where it starts for us. We do. We get into that, like, I'm going to scratch your back, you scratch mine. And it don't, over anything. Really over anything. You know what I mean? Not just people with material stuff. You know what I mean? Like, well, I'm going to do this or that or the other because I know, you know what I mean? Like, it'll make me look like this or make me feel like this or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's like you getting something from it. You got to take self-gratification and set it aside. It ain't about you. It wasn't about Paul. It ain't about you. Right? You want to read yours, Sam? Come on.
I thought it was pretty amazing that once they found that Rome found out that Paul went and said he was a Roman citizen, and then I get it on number 3. There's some centurion said, have 200 footmen ready by the 3rd hour of the night, about 9 p.m. to go as far as
Caesarea, or 70
horsemen, 200 spearmen, also provide beasts from Mount Paul's ride and bring them to take them. Like, you gotta think, like, all had, I mean, there was that many, that much.
Think about that. And I've got that. And we're going to talk about that a little bit when I go over mine. Dude, that's crazy. That's crazy. Hold on, I wrote it down. 70 horsemen, 200 soldiers, and 200 spearmen. That's who came and got Paul. 70 men on horses, cavalry, 200 foot soldiers, and 200 spearmen. That's almost 500 people that come to get one guy. That's crazy, ain't it? It was a garrison. I can't remember how many that is. I think somewhere around that, maybe. But they weren't protecting him. They were trying to capture him. You know what I'm saying? Like, literally, there was so many people, even though it was like real early, like 3 in the morning, it was dark. You could see them as a mass coming into the city. Like literally, I remember going over this in our class over that part of the gospel. Jesus he was 3 miles away from wilderness. Jesus was 3 miles away from wilderness. You could see them coming. He could have, but he didn't. He sat right there. You could hear him coming, you could see him coming. And he waited. Same thing here with Paul, but they were protecting him in this case.
It's crazy how God flipped that around.
Flipped the script, didn't he?
He said 500 to kill him, I'm saying 500 to take him.
Yeah. Because once Jesus fulfilled God's plan for him, game on. Game on. Game on. God is not going to let you go easy, bro. You're His. You're His. You're holy. You're chosen. He's not going to let you go easy. Little Christian, want to agree? Bring it on. Because we watch them videos, we don't have a whole lot of time.
Okay. So, other question, Paul admitted to being a worshiper and following the leader of the law and prophets. While he states that his Paul is hoping to find that there will be a resurrection of the righteous and the wicked, that he shall keep his conscience good before God and man. When Paul was speaking to Felix on righteousness and judgment, Felix took him on, okay, I don't change what I got written up for that. Okay. So, Paul, Felix said, that's enough. I mean, I could imagine him yelling that. You know what I'm saying? Because whenever we get in situations and stuff like that, we start to reflect on our past. It's like Felix put off the fact that, Paul released it. He kept putting it off and putting it off. And that's really kind of comes down to pride.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Human beings' #1 smoke machine. Right.
I just believe that each and every person, like, I don't mean for sure, like, but the fact, a big thing is, like, I feel like maybe big for somebody, like, the fact that he waited too long and getting his
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That's a heartbreaker every time, bro. That literally, once you become a believer and you actually witness that, or even read it, that happened 2,000 years ago, it still breaks your heart. You're like, dude had chance after chance after chance after chance. Because God don't give up. But eventually,
like, what is it that we're putting off?
fear, man. My personal thing was I was afraid, bro. I was afraid. I was, man. Number one, I was afraid to admit to other people that I even believed. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I figured I'd look stupid, this, that, and the other, and I was just afraid. Like, I was scared of what it would do to me, man. I was content and happy being a sensationalist. How's that make me feel? How's that make me feel? How's that make me feel? How's it make me feel? How's it make me feel? I'm cool with that. The moment, the here and now. Well, what are you going to do in a year? Forget a year. What about right now? What are you going to do in 5 years? What are you going to do in 10 years? Never thought like that. Right?
In King James, it said Felix trembled.
Trembled.
He
was scared.
Was scared.
Fear.
It wasn't Paul was speaking truth.
Yes, and it scares the heck out of you, bro. I'm serious, man. Like you said, that's enough. You know what I'm saying? When somebody's speaking to you and it's ringing inside of you, but you're so like hard-headed or set in your ways that even though you hear it and it's making you feel some type of way, it's making you mad because it goes against your core belief, your heart. You're done. You know what I'm saying? You blow up or you break down. I hope you break down. That's when it starts to sink in. You break down. I've been holding so hard. Yeah, seriously. I can't tell you how many times that happens to me, like daily almost. I'm like, man, why didn't you show me that 3 years ago? You know? But sometimes it's like I'll figure something out, something will come to me, and I'll be like, it'll be me, and I'll know it was me. Man, why was I so shutting myself off to that? For 4 years, I've shut myself off that I didn't want to hear that. You know? It goes both ways. Matt Marshall, you want to read yours? You guys can do 24 or 23. I don't care which one you want, because we don't have 21 minutes.
I didn't mind getting.
Okay.
Well, I did come like some of them. So Paul heard the Lord say he must preach to you from Rome. Well, so, moves on. Paul, the smacking thing, then Paul gets him with the scriptures saying that you must not be fool for being rulers when he apologized when he found out that the guy was the high priest. Then Paul defends himself by saying that I am on trial because I believe in the resurrection of the dead. And Felix just kind of, he didn't want to have anything to do with it.
Yeah. He was ready to just turn him over. You know what I'm saying?
I was just looking back at some of the other things, but like this basically fulfills that Atticus's prophecy. And it says, the Holy Spirit declares the only revealed to them of the future. Anyway, that's what happened.
You know what's amazing is that it's triggering you to look back into something else. That's what this is about, man. Like, that's why we do this homework. Because when you start getting into it, eventually, I promise you, eventually at some point, you're going to start, man, remember when, Josh, remember when you used to read scriptures every day, we get a day on my own group? Every day. And all of a sudden, it's hitting you, and he says something, and you're like, that's over here. Or that relates to something in this book. Old Testament or New, it crosses, right? That's when it's starting to hit home. I love that, bro. That put a smile on my face. He goes, well, I'm looking back because it's ringing something over here. That's amazing, bro. That's amazing. You keep doing that. What'd you do? Eat too many ribs?
No, I'm burning up.
Yeah.
See?
You want to read yours?
Yeah. I did mine on 23:11 this morning. Jesus came to Paul and tells him he was going to testify to the Romans since he had in Jerusalem. The Jews stood plot against Paul and planned to pretty much starve themselves until Paul was killed. But soon the question so they went up and presented themselves and what the chief priests, the elders, and demanded they participate.
So, like, even that video was talking about how it was telling Paul he's going to go preach to the Romans. He's going to go preach to these Gentiles, these Greeks. He's going to go to Asia Minor. He's going to go everywhere. Dude, that's all throughout the Old Testament too, guys. There's several, many places in the Old Testament where God's speaking either through His Holy Spirit or straight to the people who are like, you're going to go talk to these people. They're like, they're not Jews. I don't care. His message and His salvation is for everyone. Has always been that way. Always. Abraham tithes to a man that's not a Jew. The godfather of Christianity, Islam, and Judaism tithed to a man that was not a Jew. It does not say Melchizedek was a Jew anyway. He was the king of Salem, and it was not Jerusalem then, it was Salem. Jews hadn't even went to that land yet. It don't say nowhere Job was a Jew.
Pretty sure in Isaiah it says, I shall call my people that is not my people.
Yes.
My people, a nation that is not my nation, my nation.
And they're going to accept it. Samaritans, Gentiles, Romans, like all these people, it seems like, when you get into the Bible, it seems like they were more open to it than the Jews. And a lot of that has to do with how they were brought up. For their whole lives, this is what's real, this is what's real, this is what's real, this is what's real, this is what's real. Somebody's telling them that. Their dad, or their priest, or their uncle, somebody older than them. This is it, this is it, this is it. And when somebody comes along and they say, man, think about this, bro, it says this. Right here it says it, man. This is what it is. Oh, break something inside you. You're like, there's no way everybody, my grandpa wasn't wrong. Yes, he was. That's hard to overcome. That's really hard to overcome. Because we are a product of our environment sometimes. I say this all the time. Exposure leads to metamorphosis. When you expose yourself to something, over time, you change into whatever that's morphing you into. When you expose yourself to the light of Jesus, you'll start to change. You'll morph into something, man. You'll morph into a monarch butterfly, Brandon. An Irish one. Red beard and all. Green back. You'll even get in a chrysalis. Yeah, the little pouch that they get in.
A cocoon?
It's called a chrysalis, dude.
Cocoons.
Cocoons are what gremlins grow in. I know that it's called a chrysalis. Cocoon, it is. It's an old movie where these like crazy little things jumped out of their eggs. Oh, I don't remember saying that. How old are you? I didn't mean to point that out, okay? Who else wants to read theirs? You want to read something else? You want to add to it?
23. The first thought that comes to mind is that I wonder if those 40 men starved to death or died of thirst. These two chapters are very straightforward, and I feel more informative than anything, but I appreciate the point that God has made to sending so much help to Paul. 40 men against one, those odds aren't very good. That's how the devil works. He puts so much effort into trying to bring us down. what seems like more than can be overcome. Our power to overcome is in our faith, though. God pretty much says, hold up, and sends almost 500 men to make sure that Paul goes untouched. That almost seems like too many. I mean, there's no way that 40 hungry and thirsty men can withstand 500. That's God's point here, though. But we have just a little faith in Him, and the odds seem stacked so heavily against us, and we can make it where there's no way we can lose.
Come on, bro. And you're right. The Bible never says whether they broke their oath to never eat or drink until Paul died. Because it took a long time for him to die after that, from that point on. You know what I mean? He was in prison in that whole sea. When did he, hold on. This was in 58, I think. So this was in the year 58. And Paul died. Paul died in the year 67. So they didn't eat or drink nothing for 11 years. You see? Water! I made a vow! You look like a piece of leather thrown over a clothesline. It was 62? 62? That's when Acts was written? Yeah, the story that he's talking about happened in 58. Or 57. Either way, even if it was in 62, it took 5 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, human beings can't go without food for more than 40 days, or you're dead. That's scientific. Ain't that a coincidence that Jesus was tempted for 40 days? Didn't eat for 40 days? He went, what science says today is your death day. He went that many days, and was alive. Right?
The only person who goes 40 days with no food or drink?
Not drink. Food. Food. Water is like 11 or somewhere around the 2-week mark. If you go 14 days, somewhere around the 14-day mark and you don't drink anything, you're dead. You're dead. Is that right? I'm thirsty right now.
When you fast, can't you drink water?
When you fast, you're asking God to spiritually intervene with something you're going through, and that will increase. Trust me, it will increase. But it depends on what you're fasting. If you're fasting food and drink, there's people out there that fast food and drink. Ask Pastor Jeremy. You know what I'm saying? And they'll go weeks with no food or drink. They'll go beyond what science says is possible. That's just, oh God. You're getting into something like one of the craziest spiritual connections you could ever. Fasting is probably, it's the most intense way to connect spiritually with God, to me, personally, to me. It's insane.
Pedro fast.
Yes, it's insane how spiritual your connection to God gets, because you get delirious and you get, I mean, for real, you go 2 days without eating or drinking anything. No. Dude, it's crazy, because then you have to lean on Him. You have to trust and lean on Him with everything you've got to make it through that. And it's like, you mold together like Play-Doh and paper mache.
I've done small fasts, like 3 hours.
You gotta start somewhere, bro. You ever seen them dogs that you put the Play-Doh in and you hit the handle and shoots it out the end? Never mind. I gotta get their attention somehow, bro. You know what I'm saying? Y'all do know that I took psychology when I was in college, so the average human attention span is in between 15 and 30 minutes. So every 20 minutes or so, if I don't say something stupid, I'm gonna lose you.
Oh Lord, you got our attention.
They're like, and I'm serious to this day. I'll run into guys that like Big John or John Cook, or even some guys that have left, and they remember certain things from my class, and I'm like, that's what you remember? Forget that part. You know what I'm saying? Just rub that one clean. That's not what I meant. Big John remembers. I can't say it on the video.
I remember.
Sounding. That's what he remembers from my classes. But you're sick, bro. You know? We got time for 2 more. And Brandon's wanting to go last. Who else wants to? Oh, come on.
I'll just do 23.
23:11. Never be down and out about a situation in your life. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean the Lord isn't going to work in your life.
Yes.
Have faith and keep your head up because you can't see your blessings coming in front of you.
That's right. Even when you can't feel it, even when you can't see it, like he's working, bro. He never quits. We talked about this Monday. When you're sitting there with your hands full, and you're trying everything you can, and you're giving it away, even if you're picking up old habits, he's standing over top of you with the biggest bowl of blessings. Like molasses.
Whoa.
You know what I mean? And you have no idea. It's just doing this, and you're struggling. Dude, this is crazy. I ain't never gonna make it through this, man. There ain't no way. I'm smoked, I'm done, I give up. And then all of a sudden, it hits you. Everything changes. Right there, in an instant. Never grow weary of doing what is right. For in due time you will reap a harvest. Right?
I like what you said the other day, the thing about how you can't receive blessing or his blessing unless you maybe fill up your glass.
You
can't
can't.
empty your glass of old.
Think about that.
And so I think about that all the time. I catch myself just drawing a glass.
Yeah? Come on, bro.
Have an empty-
What it, dude? I'm serious, man. That's a real concept because, like, think about this. When you come in here, your glass has probably got 3 drinks took out of it. So God can only put this much in you, right? You gotta give that away and pour that out. So you're not only giving away God's blessings, you're giving away all that old crap that you have built up over time, over years, bro. Years. You gotta shed it. You gotta shed that skin. You gotta throw that down and quit going back and picking it up. Because God's trying to put something on you new and shiny, perfect, like a cellophane bubble suit that you can just go into traffic and bing, 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 bing.
Yeah.
I've got 2 of them at home. I'm bringing them Monday.
Where you jump in them and you
You put them on you like this, and we're bought, me and you.
Yes.
Yes. I do. I have 2 of them things at home. I found them in my garage.
I'll give you
I
all
was
I
just supposed
got.
to throw them away. I'm like, those are brand new. They've never been used. They're like big.
I called dibs
They're
first.
big lollipops that you put on top of your body so your legs are still healthy.
Yes, I called dibs.
That's
I want first
It's
round.
going to be awesome,
I
man.
want first
And
round.
then you got to fight. Brandon and little Chris. I want to see it, bro. All right. Oh, Eric and little Chris. Oh, yes. The 2 dwarfs. Which one's getting tossed first?
It's leprechaun against dwarf.
Which one against the leprechaun?
Me.
Bilbo Baggins.
Oh. Bilbo was a hobbit.
Yeah.
How dare you shame him that way? Oh, I'm sorry. All right, Brandon, you want to read yours?
Both chapters speak to me about trials and tribulations. During our walk, we will come across many, and even just like this case, it can happen when standing firm with the foundation of God and His Word. Just look to God and use Jesus for encouragement and strength. Cover yourself with the whole armor of God. Isaiah 48:16 says, He placed the foundation stone firm and tested. It is a precious cornerstone that is safe to build on. Whoever believes will be never mistaken. 2 Corinthians 10:3-6. We are human, but we don't wage war as humans do. We use God's mighty weapons, not worldly weapons, to knock down the strongholds of human reasoning and to destroy false arguments. We destroy every crafty obstacle that keeps people from knowing God. We capture the rebellious thoughts and teach them to obey Christ. And after you have become fully obedient, we will punish everyone who remains disobedient. Proverbs 1:7. Fear of the Lord is the foundation of true knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and discipline. Luke 6:47-49. I will show you what it's like when someone comes to me, listens to my teaching, and then follows it. It is like a person building a house who digs deep and lays the foundation on solid rock. When the floodwaters rise and break against the house, it stands firm because it is well built. But anyone who hears and doesn't obey is like a person who builds a house right on the ground without a foundation. When the floods sweep down against that house, it will collapse into a of ruins. Ephesians 2:20. Together we are his house, built on the foundation of apostles and the prophets. The cornerstone is Jesus Christ himself. 1 Timothy 3:15. Through the word we will know how people must conduct themselves in the household of God. This is the church of the living God, which is the pillar and foundation of the truth. Hebrews 1:10. In the beginning our Lord laid the foundation of earth and made the heavens with his hands. So have faith in his foundation. Last but not least, Galatians 6:9. So let's not get tired of doing what is good. At just the right time we will reap a harvest of blessings if we don't give up. Amen.
So, Paul, right here especially, is given the example that we should follow, which is Jesus, of Jesus being the foundation. Right? When Jesus asked his apostles, "Who do you think I am?" and Peter said, "You are the Son of the Most High," he said, "It's that faith that I will build my church on." What you just said and what you truly believed in, that one statement. Even though you're going to deny me 3 times, even though you're going to go back to fishing when I die, and you're going to doubt that I am who I say I am, and you don't think I'm ever coming back, you think I'm dead for gone for good, you believe it for nothing. Even though all that's fixing to happen, that faith from that statement is what I'm going to build my church on, that rock, that foundation. That's what happened to Paul. All of a sudden, Paul's standing on Jesus. He can't be shook. There ain't no such thing as halfway Christians. Right? Oh, they shook, son. Yeah. Right? There ain't no such thing as halfway Christians. And you rattled off so many verses right there. Are amazing. Isaiah 28:16. Right? Behold, I lay in Zion a stone, a tested stone that's going to become your cornerstone. So in Isaiah, he's prophesying that Jesus is going to become the cornerstone. Right? One of my favorite verses, Psalm 118:22. The stone that the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. And every time you read that verse in the New Testament, that's where they're getting it from. Not Isaiah, Psalms. Right? It also says it in Job, where Job's like, "Man, you took all this from me." He says, "Were you there when I laid the foundation? Were you there when I put the cornerstone in?" Because I'm fixing to. Right? It says in Job. But in Jeremiah is one of the only places where he says, "If you reject me, you don't listen, you want to do your own thing, I will take away the cornerstone. I will take away your foundation, and you will be in ruin and desolation." So it works both ways. If we are not standing on Jesus, we're standing in quicksand. With no 2x4 or horse or something, whatever, something big along to maybe hit one giant, you know. You get up to here, you're really smoked. Take a backhoe to get you out of there. Right? I hate quicksand. I've never been in any, but I hate it. Just thinking about it. It's like I'm drowning in dirt. You know?
I've done that.
Maybe it's because my brother used to shove mud pies in my face all the time when I was a kid. Thought I was going to die. All right, so I put mine together. Dude, we finished on time. That's awesome. So God, the Lord, assures Paul that he's going to go to Rome. He's going to Rome to preach, right? A lot of you guys have talked about that. And this is what Alex brought up. Some of the Jews vowed not to eat or drink anything until Paul's death. The Bible never continues on or mentions that again. It never says that they went back on their vow, or I would have to think that these guys were like a mob in cahoots, and they're like, "We're never going to eat or drink till it's," you know, they're in it, you know, emotional, da 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 da. The Romans come in and they're like, "Oh, crap!" And they're taking Paul away. They're like, "Don't go home and say nothing to nobody. We're taking that vow back," because there's no way. There's no way that they're not going to eat or drink anything once they see the Romans take it. That's just me in my mind, you know. So it was 70 horsemen, 200 soldiers, 200 spearmen that took Paul out of the city. Here's a few history notes that I wrote down. The city of Caesarea was built by Herod in the year in between 25 and 13 BC. Okay, so if this is the year 58 or 60, this city was built 80 years earlier. It's a man-made artificial city. How crazy is that? Because we were just talking about Dubai being an artificial man-made, that island that they built. This is the same thing. Historians used to argue it and say, you're crazy, you're crazy, you're crazy. There's no way that 2,100 years ago human beings could do this. Science and archaeology has proved it to be true. They built this city. It's a fake. The harbor, everything is fake. They went in 100-foot deep water building these walls to move the water. That's crazy, bro. Think about that. That's what they were doing back then. And the video was talking about the roads that they had. They had paved highways. Tell me God ain't like, ha! My will be done. Watch and see. I'm tired of them walking around over mountains and it taking them 4 months to get here. I'm going to use these Romans to build 30,000 miles worth of highways. They had more highways than America does today. Then, in year one. They had more interstate highways than we do today in America. Right? It's not natural. It's completely artificial. Even the harbor. People used to think that this was word of mouth, made up, false, but science and archaeology proved it to be true. There was a theater there in Caesarea that sat 10,000 people. The city itself had a population of 100,000 residents. Right? Paul was in prison in Caesarea for 2 years, from the year 58 to the year 60. Caesarea was the Roman capital of Judea, where if you remember, at the first of Acts, 20 years prior to this, okay, rewind 20 years, Cornelius becomes the first Gentile Christian. Right? He was the Roman soldier that became the first Gentile Christian. And he was received into the church, right? Paul's imprisonment was in the governor's palace, like that video showed. It was like really soft imprisonment. He was in the governor's palace. So he's eating like avocados and, you know what I mean? People are pampering him with banana swings and stuff.
Was Constantine the first emperor to become Christian?
No. I'm going to say no, because Constantine used the whole Christian thing to get all the Christians to fight for him. He was full of crap, if you ask me. Constantine was full of crap. He said, I'm a Christian, I had a vision by God. He told people this. He said, I had a vision of Jesus. And all the Christians was like, let's fight for him. And he knew they would. And that's how he won. That's how he won the war that he was in.
Constantine wanted to make it.
Yes, I do. He was fighting both sides. I do not believe for a minute that man was a Christian. Paul was allowed to have visitors, and it was even showing you how they would set up tables, didn't he? Have poker parties, everything. I wonder if they had cards back then. You couldn't slam them rock cards. You broke my jack again. You know what I mean? Break the cards. Like, what the heck? They might, but yeah.
We know they had dice.
They were playing balls.
We know they had dice.
They did. They have lots. They casted lots, right? So Felix, so they send Paul to Felix. So Felix is the governor or the leader of this area right here, and he knows the Christians because there's a lot of them. Living in the region that he's over top of. So he knows, like he hears about them daily, right? They're all in his jurisdiction. So it's starting to, like, if you think about this is where we're talking about how people are dead set in their ways because they've been taught something their whole life from baby to adulthood, you know. Then all of a sudden they start carrying something new. So then they send Paul to Felix, and Felix is like, taking every chance he's making up reasons to go talk to Paul. To go sit there and talk to Paul. Just to get mad at him for speaking truth, right? So he gets to sit in front of the most noted Christian teacher of the time, Paul, right? But even though Paul was as strong and firm standing in his beliefs as he was, I don't think it took with Felix, right? He sent for Paul often, but it was his greed and his pride that kept him from accepting Christ. Felix's greed and his pride. Pride's always going to be in there. That's the number one. Pride is the number one thing all human beings have to fight when it comes to the sin nature within us. It always boils down to your pride. If you can fight that and overcome that, it won't be smooth sailing, but all the fruits are yours. Joy, peace, kindness, gentleness, long suffering. I can never remember all that.
Self-control.
Self-control's last. I know that because I'm still there. I'm not there. I'm nowhere close. Love, joy, peace, goodness, kindness, gentleness, long suffering, patience, and self-control. What? Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that is good.
Dang it, you tricked me.
Where's it at?
Galatians 5:22. Galatians 5:22. Meekness. Huh?
No.
Meekness is one of the beatitudes. Oh, I've got a phone. I could have found it like 10 seconds ago.
Yeah, well, I got it.
You know you don't.
Look, listen. Love, joy, peace,
Love, joy, peace,
long suffering,
patience,
kindness,
goodness,
faithfulness.
faithfulness. How can I forget that one?
Yes.
How do I forget that one? Because like when I counsel some of you guys, when they ask me what gifts you guys are operating in, I'll write that in there if I feel like your faithfulness is something you're operating in at the time. How do I forget that one?
I've never even remembered.
Dang it.
Everything else goes.
Everything. No, you was way off, bro.
Oh yeah, explain that. Just listen.
So, gentleness. I'll give you the working definitions of it.
Yeah, I need to hear this.
Okay. Gentleness is the tender or mild mannered. It's the quality of kindness. Okay. It's the softness of action or the lightness of your effect on people. Right. Kindness is being friendly, generous, or considerate. Right? Friendly.
We joke in like different ways too.
Right. Friendly, generous, or considerate, whereas gentleness is being tender or mild-mannered. I think gentleness has more to do with attitude. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like meekness, like Josh was just saying. You know what I mean?
How do you know we pass that?
Listen, bro. There's ways around things. Alright?
That's not how
Okay, so I'm working on that one. I'm nowhere close to self-control. Dang it, I believe number 3. Thanks a lot, you piece of crap. Victor, you want to pray us out?